Welcome to our new animal communication webinar. I'm so excited about this. I can't even tell you. I'm so excited to see you and share this astonishing, life-changing magic with you. Monica in London. I'm watching you all get on. This is fabulous. We got a lot of different countries represented here. So I'm opening now. When I was trained in religious science, the science of mind, this is it's a spiritual philosophy that was actually based on some things that the transcendental philosophers discovered. So Dr. Ernest Holmes lived and created a very revolutionary philosophy in the 1930s. I speak in churches all over the world, and basically what I'm teaching is a church service. We just have a very different frame of reference of who we're praying to. So, and how we're approaching it, and how we want to embody the grace and the beauty of all that God Goddess is. So in this idea, we are God individualized. You'll hear me say this a million times. We're cells in the body of God. We're cells on Mother Nature's skin. And this is where the more divine mother energy, the more Kuan Yin energy, the more Mother Mary, the Sekhmet, the even Kali, Durga, we're embracing the divine in the creatures and the creations and the masterpieces on this planet. And rather than trying to ascend up and out of it, which is what a lot of the patriarchal religions have taught, we're sinking deeper into it. So in the science of mind, the idea is that God can only do for you what God does through you. You can reframe that word if it strikes a chord in you and you want to say source, universal creativity, divine wisdom, Akashic records even. We're accessing the sixth dimensional realm. But the idea here is that for me, my slant on this is when I give a proper church service in a proper traditional church, I'll speak on St. Francis, because St. Francis was an animal psychic. They cannot deny that. Nobody can deny that. St. Francis is an animal psychic. I was there. I would know. So, and you may have been there too. You may have been with him too. So I know for a fact there's as much God, the presence of healing and beauty and magic and joy and a kind of creativity that just knows no bounds. It's so beyond our comprehension. And it's in your dog, it's in your cat, it's in your bird, it's in your horse, it's in my elephants, my tigers, my cheetah, my gorilla friends, my whales, my sharks, my penguins. Now, I'm taking away the idea of mine and not mine. Because if the creature is on the planet, it is yours. It is yours to love. And love is kind of an overused word that doesn't mean anything to a lot of people because of the context we've put it in throughout our lives. And if we're going to reframe that word love and maybe talk about tenderness, compassion, tenderness, we're being now trained in a patriarchal masculine system that is now changing. Fortunately, it's falling apart and it's changing. And we're here to assist the planet as she goes through this transformation. But what I see is that we've been taught to push, that we push because that's what we've taught to do. And we're really being encouraged to go forward, push, push, push. And a lot of the New Age world has created an even bigger problem because you've heard me harp on this, that we're make more money, make more money, make more money. You're supposed to feel great every day. You're supposed to be high energy. Your career's supposed to do up, 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 up. Your finances up, 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 up. And that's entirely a commercial point of view, so that we make more money, so we buy more things. This is the opposite of that. This is you being able to sit back in your soul, in silence, and get to know yourself, really. This change that it's always been here. If you think of your body as a radio, you can tune it, you can change the channel at any moment. Now there's another channel. There's another channel where every living being is talking to every other living being. And they're already doing it. You can overhear what your ducks are saying about each other, or what your lambs are saying, or what the birds are saying outside, should you choose to do so. And that's where it gets really tricky. What kind of sacrifices do we have to make in order to get into this space on a consistent basis? Time. Maybe you're going to get up an hour earlier every day and carve out an hour to put on your meditation music and to do your yoga and say your prayers and set your intentions. Get yourself in the right mental space. If you don't have command over this space, you're going to get tossed every which way like a tiny boat in a hurricane on the ocean. There's so much out there to get upset about. And there's an underlying idea that's been put in us. And we've been exploring this in the inner child class. Why were you not allowed to sit and daydream and look at a butterfly, or enjoy the squirrels in the park, or listen to the birds, or go out to the ocean and connect to the dolphins? Listen, because somebody came along and told you, no, you have to be busy. You've got to act like a grown-up. That's childish. The cat can't talk. All this entrainment was a lot of brainwashing that taught you lies about the three-dimensional world. It's a blip in the human history, because I'm a card-carrying Choctaw and Cherokee, and also Celtic. A lot of you that are on the British Isles, you know how magical your heritage is. And in the world of a lot of the Native American beliefs, if you couldn't telepath with your horse, there was something wrong with you. There was something seriously wrong with you. And there are still some cultures that believe this, like the Aborigines, or people who can make it rain, people who are in touch with the elements, with the animals. That's healthy. That's natural. That's normal. That is not crazy. What's happening now in America and Europe, and wars and pollution and inflation, and that's crazy. You are not crazy to want to do this. You're so full of love and hope. And you've come to the planet to give a different kind of direction, a different education to the people who have no idea that these things are possible. But the state of mind that you have to go into, the state of reflection, and the risk that you take to let your imagination go wild, and then to actually have the nerve to say it out loud. And in the beginning, that's a big risk. It's really scary. But once you start taking those risks, then it becomes fun. And the mistakes that you make also make it fun. If you were just right about everything, it wouldn't be so fun. Learning is the whole process. Now, some of you, most of you, if you haven't read Straight from the Horse's Mouth, please get your hands on it. That was my first book, and that's kind of the textbook of animal communication. There are 50 different case studies there. And the how-tos are about getting you in the right frame of reference. On my website, you've got in my online, in the store, Amelia's Magic is all of the meditations from the first book and a lot of the lessons that you can listen to. And it's important that you just practice. You jump in and you start practicing. So in that first workshop where I discovered this for the first time, it was because Beatrice Leidecker was going from one vet's office to another all over America, solving the problems that the vets couldn't solve. And that was a job that I later had the honor of taking on with my vet in LA, and lots of vets now. I've got lots of vets that are students. But in this first workshop now, I knew that she could talk to my cat. I knew that she could talk to Rodney. That was really obvious because she was able to look at him and say, and I said, why has he not been hungry lately? And she said, do you know about those two little girls next door with the long dark hair? One's 5 years old, one's 7 years old. They've been letting him in and feeding him. Well, I did have 2 neighbors in this condo of that description exactly. And I didn't know they were letting my cat in and feeding him. But he would scream bloody murder at the top of his lungs all the time. And I had gotten him from a really bad part of town, run down little Van Nuys back when you could actually open the cages and take the cats out and pet them. Now they have locks on all the cages. But she utterly and totally blew my mind and said his favorite place to sit is on the back of a peach-colored couch that has big white flowers on it. And it overlooks a bay window, and across the street is a wooden fence, and behind that wooden fence is a little white dog. And he goes over there and makes that dog bark. Did you know that? Now, my mind was blown. There was this little white terrier across the street behind that wooden fence. I did not know he went over there and tormented that dog. And how many people have a peach-colored couch covered in white flowers? And that was the only place in the house he would sit. A lot of you have heard these stories, and I could tell them for many, many hours, as you know. But I wanted to tell you this because I started thinking about how funny this is, and I always forget to say this. When I took that first workshop from her, coming in completely and totally insecure, convinced I couldn't do it. I knew she could do it, but I knew I couldn't do it because I never tried to do it. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go and learn what I can, but I'm not going to be able to do it. Well, I brought Rodney with me. And we're going to do this today a little bit, not to scare you to pieces, but just to get some more baseline of things. When the first question, we always start with the vibration of love. Now you're entering a trance state. This is a state of self-hypnosis. And whether or not you succeed at it revolves around how deeply you can silence your mind. The sacrifice involved is your ego. You want to be right. You want to find this part of you and say, oh, I can do it. I'm psychic. I mean, you want to, or even if you already know that you are, you're coming in with some previous experience or some training or at least some magical occurrences in your life. The ego wants control of it. It wants to slice and dice it and make it all cute and neat. That's not how this works. You're jumping into a swimming pool or an ocean of electromagnetic impulses. You're diving deep into a realm in your heart where you're so full of love for this animal. I'm already crying. You're so full of love. You're so overwhelmed by their beauty that you're fully present. You're not worried about the past. You're not thinking about what you can have for lunch. You can't think about what I gotta hurry, get off this call. I got this and this and this to do. you cease to exist. You dissolve in an ocean of love. And you find your way in this ocean, these electromagnetic impulses. Now it changes your brain waves. Last night I started fooling around with 110 hertz. And it's the vibration that they were creating inside the Great Pyramid. I slept deeper and feel better than I felt in years. So these hertz radio waves, the binary beats, are free on YouTube. You can find some that don't have commercials. I let them play all night because it changes your brain waves. And we want to go into the alpha, beta, theta, data. We want to go into the delta, the deepest silence that you can find. From that point, you are empty. Your mind is blank. You empty yourself out. And you are sending love to this animal. You're beaming as if a beam of starlight could beam through you. It's not you. It is and it isn't. If you could imagine that maybe your white blood cells and red blood cells, and maybe every atom in your body has an ego. They need to know what they're designed to do, so they don't act the same. White blood cells act completely different from red blood cells. They're problem solvers. They're looking for trouble. They're going to go in there and fix it. That's what you are. You're the white cell. You are God's white blood cells. You are Mother Nature's white blood cells. We've come here to try to correct and heal and help her along and set new templates for the next generation. But one of the things that you may have been told is we have to be busy. You can't just sit and daydream. Some of you have that hurdle to get over, depending on how much your parents were cracking a whip over you. Happened to all of us. There wasn't every single one of you grew up with, well, you've got to get ready for school. You got to get dressed. You're going to miss the bus. You got to go. You got to put your feelings aside. You got to think what I think, believe what I believe, or you're not going to get the approval of your parents. Then you got to fit in at school. Good luck with that. Depending on how obvious of an alien you may be, or an angel, which is kind of the same thing. They're off-planet intelligences that are here to assist the process right now. But the more you want to let go of it, and this is where it came in for me. I am very OCD. My mind goes forever. My emotions are, It feels good to me to settle the mind. You settle the emotions like the waves on the ocean. The more silent you become, and the more playful that you don't have to be right. You have to let your imagination roll. And you imagine that you're this cat, and you imagine what would his voice sound like? What would the world look like through his point of view? What does he care about? What's important to him? This is the opposite of humans saying, you do what I want and I'll love you. And if you do that to your animals, what it shows me is that it was done to you because you had to learn it somewhere. Instead of you coming in and going, I love this dog. He digs in the trash and he goes and threatens to kill the neighbor's dog. And to be on his side and go, okay, I love him the way he is. And there's a reason he's digging in the trash. Okay, his food is boring. He doesn't have anything to chew on. And a lot of the time what gets in the way with people is guilt. They know their animals are bored. They know their food is boring. They know they're not getting enough attention. They know they're not getting enough walks and change of scenery and beautiful music and great emotion. They're not getting nurtured with the vibrations of you're perfect in every way. I love you. I love everything about you. You're so handsome. I love the way that your tongue falls out of your mouth because you're missing some teeth. I love the way that you got a cataract in one eye. That's okay. I love the fact that you're lower back is sore, and you do all sorts of naughty things. When you're in that state of mind, and it's very rare that I find anybody that can go there, they talk to you because they trust you. You have to earn that trust. It's not going to be easily given. They've had people chasing them around the house saying, "Oh, you can't bring the bird in here." And this is taking the animal's point of view. So the story that I always forget to tell you, I took Rodney to this workshop that Beatrice Leidecker was teaching. There may be 5 people in somebody's backyard. He was sitting under my seat, and when I pulled him out to have everybody read him, and we said, "What's his favorite food?" One of the women said, "Cake icing." One of the women said, "Cheese fish." Now, these are little Pepperidge Farm crackers, cheese fish. What they didn't know is the week before that, I'd thrown a birthday party for one of my friends. And I had this beautiful bakery cake in the kitchen. And when I went to get it to bring it out with lit candles, half of the roses were missing. Rodney had licked the cake flat. So the cake icing. I'd already put out a bowl of those little cheese fish. When I reached my hand into the cheese fish, they were wet. He'd licked the powdered cheese off of every single one. So they had the courage to say something that sounds crazy. The cat's not going to tell you how much they love their canned cat food. Pretty rare. They're going to talk about things and also things that they're not allowed to have, especially dogs. Also, you may have information that is correct and you interpret it wrong. One time somebody put a picture of a cat in front of me. I didn't know the cat's name. And I said, "Well, I tuned into this cat and she likes to eat peaches." And the person said, "No, her name is Peaches." So I'll give you that. The ego doesn't know how to process this stuff. This is coming in through this wave, and it comes in all these different ways. You may hear words. Now, almost exclusively, we see words typed out in front of us because we spend so much time on the computer. It's as if you're getting an email from the animal. You may get floods of emotion that aren't yours. You find yourself suddenly sad and crying, and you don't have any reason to be that. That's the animal coming through to you. Sometimes you feel like the information is coming in from a different part of your body. Like people say, "I just know." Say, how did it come to you? Was it a thought? Was it an emotion? Was it a sensation? Did you see the information? Did you hear the information? Did you hear the animal's voice? Did it sound different from yours? Because they do. The more comfortable you get in this silence, you're going to find that every animal's on a different frequency. And they sound, it's a cartoon world. It really is. You start hearing them, they don't all sound the same. So you know because the voice is different, but that may be at a later date that you delve that deeply into listening. In the beginning, it's just learning how to take information in. So we're being taught in our modern world, you send out, you send out, you send out, you send out. You're sending out to the animal. No, you're sending out to them. Why? And you're looking at them, drawing a blank. Why is he thinking this? What's wrong with him? What's going on inside of him? This is a feedback loop. Your first goal is to be able to empty yourself out so you're like an empty champagne flute and be present with all your love. St. Francis' prayer, make me a channel of your peace. You don't get to control that, ladies. You don't get to control what it looks like. Make me a channel of your peace. Now you have created, Joe Dispenza is telling us there are actual crystals in our brain, in the pineal. There are crystals in our brain. And you are now a receiver, you're receptive, and you're allowing God, Goddess, all that is to use you. The more you can surrender your fear and your need to be right and your inability to take risks or worried about what other people think about you, the more accurate information you can get. Because the crazier it is, the more likely it is to be right. The dog in Straight from the Horse's Mouth, she didn't tell me she wanted dog food. She said, oh, spaghetti and meatballs. The woman said, I gave her a whole plate of spaghetti and meatballs last night. I said, what's your favorite toy? She said, I don't play with toys, but I don't go anywhere without my red and white striped visor. I saw it and I heard a voice that did not sound like my mind's voice. We're also challenging the barrier of insanity because you've been told, well, if you hear voices, you're crazy. Well, that makes me the craziest lunatic in the loony bin because I hear voices, but each animal sounds very different from another. The picture came into my mind. You might even feel the feeling of the weight on your head. You may feel her personality. She's a mom. She's in charge of the whole family. She didn't have time to play with toys. That's not who she is. It's not her personality. And when you have one like this coming in with this, you also feel the attitude of them. They're who they are, what they're about. And eventually your onion skin layers are going to fall off and you get more and more and more and more. Then you start hearing names. Then you start seeing street signs. You start being able to get impossibly accurate things because you're remote viewing through an animal's eyes. But in essence, you're just remote viewing. You're remote viewing a moving target, which is even more complicated than what any of the psychics on this planet are doing. So we're going to go into this space, and I want to put you right in there. And so this is not a time to talk about yourself. I'm going to allow us to experience what this feels like. It's incredibly fun. Now, one of the feelings I know that when I'm tuned in, my eyes fill with tears, I start to cry. Another one is exhilaration. Even if they're sick, even if they're dying, even if they're suffering, the connection of listening is exhilarating. There's a high in it. Again, we're talking about a feedback loop. I'm going to light them up. You're going to light them up. And you're sending all the love in the world to this cat. Then we ask a question. We always start with the vibration of love. What's their favorite food, their favorite other cat, their favorite other animal, their favorite view, their favorite place in the house, their favorite other person. So we always start there because that helps establish trust. You are asking permission. He already knows. I set up the animals in advance. He's ready for you. Plus, he's an Italian man, so he's going to have all these beautiful women trying to read his mind. Trust me, he loves this. This energy, you're not going to pick anything up if you just send out. You send out, and it ricochets off the animal, and it forms a feedback loop. The feedback loop is what we're missing in our patriarchal world. The listening. And I go completely dark and unconditionally love you. No matter what you want to tell me. When people have problems hearing their own, it's usually guilt. They shut it out because they know their animals are bored or miserable or lonely, whatever. But if we're able to accept that, we're able to accept every aspect of them. We're reading a cat today, so there is that aspect of, what does he like to eat? What does he like to crunch on? Does he like those little crunchy bird feet and bird blood and beautiful feathers in his system? And if you shy away from that, you're not going to get to hear about what he likes to eat. When we don't have any preconceived notion at all, then, and no prejudices, then you're able to talk to spiders and lizards and snakes and all the things that you would normally think are scary. They're not scary. The only scary animal on the planet is the humans. And this is helping them learn how to love again. So you're sitting in this beautiful state of grace. You're sending out this love to them. You're sending the question, what would it be if you could eat anything? What would it taste like? What it would smell like? What's the texture in your mouth? Now you're imagining that you're a cat. And the more you can imagine that you are, the more likely you're going to pick up information. But in that feedback loop, this X-ray that you just made, say it's a body scan, you've got to come back and have the equipment to put that X-ray into something so you have the system to read it. You have the system to read it. It's already inside of you. You've been told, don't look behind that curtain. Don't look there. No. Because we're going to sell you the magic. It's around. No, it's inside of you. Everything that's going on is inside of you. Your perception of the world is already inside of you. I choose to live in a world where animals can talk, and I choose to be able to hear that. I choose to be able to see inside their body. I choose to be able to locate them, even if they're across the planet or in heaven. That's a choice. How do you want to operate your own system? Do you want to operate as a chunk of ice, which is how we are in our community and our societies? It's incredibly painful. It's miserable. Or am I willing to melt down that ice and become water and commune with this other being and dance with his energy and take on some of his energy and bring it into me, even if it's painful? I'm not afraid of that. Your pain threshold is also important. The more you're able to take in that pain and ricochet it out as love. Yes, it was so, I'm so sorry you went through that. I'm so sorry you feel that way. I'm so sorry this happened to you. And I'm going to ricochet it out as of this moment. As of this moment, you can enjoy the rest of your life. You're rescued. You don't have to carry that trauma anymore. We're going to go in there together, and you're together with them. That's what makes the difference. They're not alone anymore in their suffering. That horse standing in that stall finally has someone that they can trust. But then you have to follow through and defend them and try to get the humans to understand the animal's point of view without making the human defensive. So now you've triangled the animal, you've brought the human into your love, and as gently as possible, you have to deliver this information so that the human can hear you without getting defensive. That's what makes these webinars so fabulous, because you're in a safe space here. So this is what I wanted to share with you. And I'm going to put up the cat picture. I entered the port of attainment. This is Dr. Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind. Just relax your body and take this in, because this is so beautiful. I enter into my divine inheritance and know that all of my inward vision perceives, all that my inward vision perceives will be mine. inward vision. I mean, already. Like Moses, I stand on the mountaintop of spiritual perception. Now, free from all obstruction, the vista is perfect. The vision is sublime. There are no clouds in the sky. I look out across innumerable other mountain peaks, and in each I recognize another divine subject of the heavenly presence. The gates of my soul are lifted up, and a flood tide of intuition flows through me. Confronted with discord, I see harmony. Confronted with unhappiness, I unmask it also by seeing through this false face to the true joy. It's written that joy comes with a morning, and I know that this morning is eternal. Confronted with a sense of lack, I will unmask this false sense and reveal the divine horn of plenty. I lift up my bowl of acceptance that it may be filled with divine gifts. Yeah, they always mirror me back because I hadn't gotten this far, and I just say, okay, angels, let's roll. What do you want me to tell them? I embark upon the sea of today's experience, the sea, knowing that the heavenly pilot is at the helm. I seek the bold adventure of discovering new lands, realizing that there's a place within me where thought springs spontaneous from the infinite, and where the idea and the thing merge into one. I permit the inspiration of the divine creative genius of the universe to impart new ideas, to create new scenes, to enlarge all my horizons. I feel that the ocean beneath my feet is teeming with life, that the air is vibrant with invisible forces. My boat rides safe and sure, and even now I'm entering the port of attainment. Wow. Okay, we're 40 minutes into this. When we come back, we're going to go into a deep, deep meditation and go right into connecting with this cat. I'm in New Mexico where allergies run rampant, so I'm going to get up and spray my nose. But if you need to get up, have a potty break, have a cup of tea, we'll come right back. We're going to go into this, get some confirmation, and then I want to hear some about you because I have some new glorious faces here. So take a quick break if you need to. Okay, I've put on some music for you. Have your notebook and pen nearby. You're going to take 3 deep breaths with 3 normal breaths in between. So your deep breaths, you're counting to 10. We're going to take that first deep breath in. Hold it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and exhale. Take a normal breath in and blow it out. Take a deep breath in. This time I'm going to let go of any tension in your body, any pain, any worry, any doubt, anxiety, any tension in the mind. Feel yourself becoming aware of gravity. Aware of what parts of your body are touching the chair. Aware of the bottoms of your feet. Your mind instantly calms down when you're aware of the bottoms of your feet, connection to the earth. Take a breath in and blow it out. Take a deep breath in and become aware of your lungs. We'll hold this one to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and exhale. See a dark cloud coming out of you. Letting go. Any tension in the body, shoulders, your jaw, back, your stomach, your hips, anywhere you're holding on, just let it drift away. Any tension drifts away. Feel this sense of relief, this peace, as if your mind's up there somewhere, but the mind's like a television or computer, and you could just switch it off. We're lowering you now into your heart. See, a consciousness is in a part of your body that's deeper than your thinking process. This time, take a deep breath in and imagine that you're inhaling the golden light of the sun. Not a cloud in the sky, like our prayer said. But instead of letting it leave your body, feel it infusing your lungs, moving into every cell, lighting up every cell, changing every molecule from something that was dark or watery even into snowflakes. And they ring. There's a sound that they make. When you're completely aligned with that sunshine. Drop your focus now into the base of the lungs. So our first direction is down. Our second direction is back. Feel being able to back up out of your emotional self, calming the waves on the ocean. The emotional bodies out here in front of you somewhere, the dancing and turbulent and colors and brightness. But we can move back from that too and not even identify with it anymore. Imagine at the center of the earth, there are lightning bolts. If you could see her from outer space, she'd shine like a star. This reflective light of a planet. She has her own consciousness. She is a living being. She is alive. And every beautiful creature on the surface of her skin lives in perfect harmony. All of the animals in the woods, the animals in the mountaintops, the animals in the ocean, so many of them, their own world. All the beautiful beings on the poles, cold weather animals, polar bears, fox, snow leopards, snow owls, bears, all these beautiful beings. Warm weather animals, the savanna, the African animals, elephants, giraffe, warthogs and puku and kudu and baboons. All the bearded dragons and lizards and reptiles, tortoises. Such a diverse group of perfection that's been created to live in perfect harmony in a system that should be self-sustaining. And the humans are now being invited to join this frequency. Put your focus entirely on Mother Nature's world. The trees, the flowers, the insects, all the animals in the skies, birds. Just say, thank you, God, for this beauty. Thank you, God. We get to live in such an amazing world. God has so created the Garden of Eden for us to live in. We'll take our focus off the negativity and just put it on beauty. That's all, just beauty. Feel this energy coming up from the center of the earth through the bottoms of your feet. Mine's very blue today. Mother Mary, blue and white. Sparkling silvery white with the center of the fire, blue. The hottest part of the flame, the blue fire coming up through your bones, inside your bone marrow, moving up through this river of spinal fluid. And there's a crystal blue fire river and trillions of little twinkling white stars like snowflakes. Feel yourself relax. And with your breath, draw that energy up through your body, through your shoulders, to the back of your neck, shooting out into the stars. You're in a column of light, channeling the energy of the Mother Earth, Mother Nature, and very aware that you're part of a being that's so much larger than you. You're just a little tiny cell on her skin. but you're here to help her heal, helping the humans heal so that they hurt her less. Now ask this universal angelic force, God, Goddess, all that is, would you please send me some help? Each one of you has a guardian angel, and those angels, they're looking down through the clouds, they're looking down through the atmosphere of Earth. They see you. They hear your prayer. They start flying down through the roof of the building that you're in, through the top of your head that's open like a giant white lotus, like a white rose. And this energy is spinning around the other one like DNA, spinning rainbows of new information, new ways of seeing, new ways of operating, new talents and abilities, new clarity, new magic, new laughter, ease, joy, relief. Feel that energy moving down through your body, healing everything it touches. Now this angel has now landed in the room, standing right behind you. And we're shooting this angelic energy down into the earth. But you have a center of balance between this column of energy coming up and the celestial energy coming down. And in the center of your being is a brilliant white star, your solar plexus, your heart chakra. And you can even put your hand over this doorway. And when you take your hand away, a beam of unconditional love is going to beam out of you to this cat. It's very light energy. It's really playful energy. And you're invisible. Asking permission, is it okay for us to see out of your eyes? Can we experience what you're experiencing? Can we fly over to you in Italy and merge energy with you? And have you teach us? Will you please be our teacher? There's humbleness in this. There's vulnerability in this. There's a feeling of not needing to be in charge and in control. And let the animal be in control. Sit with love. If you find yourself not being able to conjure it easily, put in your mind's eye your favorite animal of all time. There may be more than one. But in the beginning, let's imagine that your favorite animal is walking towards you. They may be in heaven now, but they're so close you could reach out and touch them. You could smell their fur, their breath. You can hear the sounds that they make or mate. You can feel the warmth and the comfort, strength coming from this being. And call forth the one that you love so much that you feel like your heart could shatter into a million pieces. There's no such thing as death. Those souls are right here, right now. They're visiting you right here, right now. Ask them, what do you need to know right now? Say, how would you help me communicate with this animal? Do you have advice for me right now? Let yourself feel the love full force. If it means tears come, let them come. Allow this vibration to take you over. Imagine that you can send this much love to any animal anywhere. They don't need to have been yours, which is an illusion. They're all yours. If you love them, they're yours. This love is yours. It's the purity of your own soul. You can send this love to anyone or anything, any animal, because this is the clearest, purest version of you channeling this unconditional love. When you open your eyes, shoot a beam of love, like a lightning bolt, to this cat. We open with praise. With every single one, I tell them, you are the most beautiful animal that ever lived. No matter what condition they're in, you are the most beautiful animal that ever lived. You are the most beautiful creature on earth. If you can't do it, some part of your ego's in your own way. It's easy to love him. And admiring everything, that white fur in his ears, that inquisitive, those huge green eyes, beautiful coat, silky, inky black. Now ask him if he'd be willing to share with us what's his favorite food. Imagine that you are in his body and you're reaching out with your mouth. You can't use your hands. You're probably not going to pick it up. Maybe fingers, human fingers, might be reaching down for you, and you're taking something out of her hands or taking something from the bowl. Now, you'll smell it first. And you're reaching down with your mouth. And imagine that you could feel the texture of it. Smell. What color is it? Now, with all these questions, I'd like you to write something down, even if you feel like you're making it up. That feeling of invention is part of it. So write down what a color, a texture, a smell. Where is he when he's eating this? Is the bowl on the floor? What does the dish look like where you normally eat your food? We're starting with the food on the plate or the food in the bowl. Can you see the plate? If she's given you something that's not in your normal bowl, what does the plate look like? Imagine you could see the water dish. What does it look like? What color is it? How does he feel about the water that he's drinking? Is there anything he wants changed about it? Visualize she's giving you a treat. Something special. And it's coming down from her hand. What does that look like? And what do you wish it was? If you could have anything in the world to eat, what would you want to eat? The things that you put on the page don't need to make sense. You could, have gray, smelly, soft, warm. It doesn't, you don't need to know what you're looking at. And if you don't know what you're looking at, the chances are you're going to be accurate. Maybe you identify it, maybe you don't. We're just going to have a few questions here in the beginning. Our next one is about loving another cat. Put in his heart this great love. Put yourself in his body and imagine that you could hear yourself purring. What color is your favorite other cat? And how big is it compared to you? He does have another cat in the flat. He may be admiring one outside the window or one that he's known in the past. Write down the first thing that comes to mind. Just guess. If you don't feel strong, just guess. What color? Is it male or female? Is it larger, smaller? We're sending him a wave of comfort and friendship. Somebody to sleep with, somebody to play with, somebody to eat with. If you're more advanced, fine-tune your lens. Look very closely. Advanced students, you might hear a name and write down the first thing that comes. Your human mom is named Irene. She calls these animals by name. So if you were to try to hone in on the name, imagine that you can hear her calling the other animal. Is there another animal in this household or in this cat's life that's not a cat that he really loves? Does he have another friend that's not the same species? And if he does, what does it look like? Now, we're sending out this wave of love and excitement. We're imagining that we're inside of his body. He's feeling this love and excitement. And the question is, do you have a friend that's a different species whose body doesn't look like yours, doesn't look anything like yours? Would you please tell me about this other one that you love so much? What does it smell like? What do you do together? What color is it? What do you like about it? Allow your creativity to operate in a very safe place. You're not a little girl in school. No one's going to come in and smack you with a ruler and say you're wrong. That's not how this works. You have a right to your own perceptions. And what's on your page is between you and God. No one's even going to ask you what you wrote down unless you want to offer it up. What's the feeling this animal gives you? This non-feline. This is invented a new word. The non-felines. What does a non-feline look like? I share the whole list of questions that get more and more complicated. But for now, just imagine that you're in his favorite spot in the flat, his favorite place to sit, to nap, to observe things. That might not be the same as his favorite place to sleep. That might be two separate things. Or maybe he knocks off in this more public place. So what's his favorite place to sit? Imagine that you're in his body and you're getting there somehow. You're going to your favorite spot. You're either going to have to jump up or go in the other room or hide down under or find a dark place. But what color is what's under your feet? And are you up high? Did you have to jump up to get here? Why do you like this place so much? What's the view? What do you hear? Why does it feel safer than any other place? And your final question for now, what do you not like about the place? Is there somewhere else you would rather live? One of our questions was about moving, wanting something different. So let's ask him, what do you not like about this space? I'm sending upset. This is a different vibration. It's choppy. What bothers you here? What do you hear that bothers you? Are there vibrations that bother you? Are there sounds that bother you? Are there animals that bother you? Maybe the animals in the house are upset and they want a different kind of place. Ask him, what do you not like about the flat? And then ask him, what would be your ideal home? Sending out the question is a certain kind of feeling, frequency, frustration, fear, upset, claustrophobia, noise, anything that's disturbing. When you form that feedback loop, come inside of yourself and sit in a silent, dark cave, or maybe sea of stars in outer space. The way to awaken the third eye that sees pictures and filmed clips from the animals is to shut your eyes and with your eyes closed, look up. That starts to awaken the pineal gland. And the feeling is almost like you're watching a movie. You might see the animal from the outside, or you might be in the movie and you are the primary character. You're the hero in the story, but you are a cat. You're him. Gennarino is his name. Gennarino. Gennarino. Does he have a message for Irene? First thing that comes into your mind, write it down. Don't question it. We'll break this resonance, saying thank you to him, and visualizing him in a ball of stars, in a white, beautiful sphere. I work with aurora, the rainbow. So I'm seeing pink and blue and green spinning all around him. It's a big thank you. When you break the resonance, imagine you can do it on an exhale. You're connected to him on a bridge of light. When you go, it lets go. You come back into your own being, but you've been changed. You've got beams of pastel rainbows and sparkling lights and beautiful things moving in your body and around your body and through your mind, and angels behind you and help all around you. So I'm not going to call on you one by one to ask what you saw. I'm going to answer some of the questions, and we'll continue to read these animals next week. And then let me know if you have animals that you need help with at home. And the new students are first on the list to get them read. But also, I need you to be able to practice with other students. Some of my more advanced and even certified students are here with you because they're going to help offer up their animals so that you have practice subjects. Here we have the other cat in the house. Her name is Lily Rose. You may or may not have seen this one as his favorite other one. Sometimes, to make this more complicated, you'll look at the animal, ask who's your favorite other animal, and they show you themselves in a previous incarnation, in a previous body. That's a question for the more advanced students, but it does not mean you're wrong. He may be talking about a cat he saw outside the window, or he meets at night. 9 out of 10 times, the human doesn't even know about this other cat. But I'll show you who he lives with. Now so there she is, Lily Rose. I saw other ones too, so don't think if you didn't see that color that you're wrong. But this is going to make you laugh. His best friend, drum roll please. Her name is Lula. Now, this is quite obvious. He has a pet dog. That is his pet dog. His protector, Lula. If anything near an L sound, I'll give it to you. Lily Rose and Lula. You've got lots of L's. I have another, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm not a computer genius, so this isn't right, but I'll fix it for you if I know how to. I've got to figure out how to. So she's sideways, but here she is. Irene, I don't think I know how to turn it, so maybe if you do, you could please resend it. We have another non-feline being in the house. That's Zara. We'll continue with more complicated questions. I'll be teaching the body scan in the course of this webinar. And you'll be able to find pain, determine what's going on, ask questions where you move forward and backward in time, like what would it feel like to have this medicine, this chiropractic treatment? What would it feel like to have this change in your diet? You'll be able to go in and find pain, ask questions, send healing, find solutions. We'll have 1 week where we simulate a tracking exercise, which is animals missing. And I'll have one of you hide the animal. So in real time, you go in and describe what room they're in, what they see, what they're feeling, what they're eating, what they're smelling, what kind of music they're listening to. This is going to help you determine what's happening when they disappear. And you need to be prepared before they disappear, or help your clients find missing animals. So we'll be also kind of tailor the webinars, and I let you guide it because you might have certain animals that you need help with. Wednesday's our mediumship class. And it's also to help you let go of grief and guilt, and help your clients set up signs for the animals so that the animals can tell them if they're needing to go at home, wanting help from the vet, when are they ready to go to heaven. We can negotiate reincarnations. If they want to come back, how will the person find them? Where will they find them? What will they look like? How will they identify them? I didn't set out to prove that reincarnation is real. It just reveals itself to me every day. And it has for the last 30 years. Everywhere I've taught in those 27 countries so far, people say, I know it's the same dog that I had before. So there is that question with him, and we'll approach that question next week of reincarnation. Has he been with her before? What did he look like? Irene, I want to bring you on, please, so you get to see Mom. Would you please tell us what you think his favorite food is, what the dish and the water look like, what he normally eats, what his favorite treats are, and then I'll have some of the new students tell you their impressions.
Sure. Okay, so Gennarino, I'm going to give this away. Gennarino is practically toothless, so he has no teeth except one on one side. So, but however, so he loves gravy, he loves licking. My house is pretty wild, so it's very difficult having two cats to keep them down when we're eating. So most of the time we turn around again and the cats are on the table licking something usually. So what he loves, absolutely loves, is when we have some kind of sauces. He loves tuna and tomato sauce, kind of very, very cooked tomato, so kind of roasted tomato. He loves olive oil. He could gobble that forever. Then he loves anything which is cheesy, so milk and parmesan sauce for the pasta. He loves that, and also he loves yogurt very much. But despite the fact that he's toothless, he eats kibble all the time. I mean, he prefers it to wet food. I mean, I buy for the other cat, Lily Rose, wet food, and she eats like 5 times as much as Gennarino does. But I don't know how. I can see he must have a callus on the top of his mouth, because I can hear him crunching this kibble, but I don't know how. And he loves kibble. Then he has very, very strange passion for olives. So when of course, if they're made into a paste, so he goes mad with olives. Then what else? Yeah, And the treat is not something I can, let's say, give him. It's a fake giving him. But when we eat crisps, which is not very often, he comes and goes like, he wants to have, I want to have, I want to have, I want to have. So I give him this crisp, which is crunchy and hard. And he goes like,
Or
the whole thing.
Just clarify that for the Americans. We call that potato chips, right?
Okay.
You call that crisps.
Yeah.
Are they potato flavored?
No, yeah, they're potatoes, but they're in a bag, so they're not hot when you buy them, basically. And they have no flavor. They have a lot of salt, which Gennarino loves, and so he licks the whole thing. Then he tries to eat it, and he spits everything out. But he has a lot of pleasure doing that. He loves that. Then I have to say he's very adaptable to all kinds of tastes in terms of eating. So he's not a fussy eater, unlike Lily. Then his bowl, I give him his little bit of wet food that he eats every day on a china plate, which is white and blue. Little one from my grandmother's old cup saucer sets. Then they have light blue plastic and beige plastic bowls. Yeah, sometimes when the bowls are dirty, I put them in the dishwasher and I give them little ceramic saucers or little bowls which have a golden brim. If you've seen that, I don't know. They are like this.
Oh, good. She's going to go get it.
Want them to wash, so I can't show them to you, but another version is this, of these kind of bowls. I don't know if you've seen them.
And what does their water dish look like, Irene?
The water dish is what they share with the dogs, and it's a big metal bowl. And I change the water every day. I wanted to ask you if anyone picked up something that I forgot to write to you, or I can maybe stay for next time's question. What he does, if you saw him doing anything while I prepare coffee in the morning, because he's very, he has this kind of habit. That's him, by the way.
I want to see. We'll save that one for next week.
Okay.
Oh, there he is, so stunning. All right, I'm going to stop the recording so you can all speak freely. And then if I want to share this publicly, none of you are being shown. So your identity and your privacy is protected. So for those of you that are watching this as a playback, don't let the muggles get you down. And you've got a taste of what we're doing. And I hope that everyone understands how important this is, because it's the only way your animals can get heard. If we don't learn how to listen, what are they supposed to do? They cannot get those messages across if we don't change us. We have to change. They're talking to you all along. It's just a matter of whether or not you can get quiet and open enough to hear them.